Right. We'll start with the gradings. In the name of the state of Maine, you are hereby required to notify and warn the voters of the town of South Palmerston and the county of Knox and the state of Maine qualified to vote by law in town affairs to meet at the South Palmerston Town Office Municipal Building, 125 Sprucehead Road, South Palmerston, Maine, 04858 on Wednesday, the 11th day of December, 2024 AD. At 6:30 in the evening, then and there to act upon the following articles to wit. Article 1, to choose a moderator to preside at said meeting. They're going to start with Article 1 to choose the moderator to preside at said meeting. I will now open the floor to nominations.
I nominate Jan Gallion.
I second that.
A nomination has been made for Jan Gaudio. Is there a second? Are there any other nominations? Hearing no more nominations, they will cease. Those wishing to cast a ballot may do so now. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. There are 3 ballots cast. And 3 votes for Jan Gaudio. And Jan Gaudio has been elected moderator for the special town meeting. Jan, if you could raise your right hand. I, Jan Gaudio, do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the states so long as I continue a citizen thereof.
I, Jan Gaudio, do solemnly swear that I'll support the Constitution of the United States and the states
And of the state,
and of the state.
so long as I continue a citizen thereof.
Thank you. So long as I continue to assist there.
I, Jan Gaudio, do swear that I will faithfully discharge to the best of my abilities
I, Jan Gaudio, do faithfully swear that I will discharge my duties to the best of my ability.
the duties incumbent upon me as a moderator of this meeting,
The duties incumbent upon me as a moderator of this meeting,
according to the Constitution and the laws of the state.
according to the Constitution and the laws of the state.
You are all set.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll hand the meeting over to you.
Thank you. If there's no objection, I think I'm going to be seated. Just a couple things before we begin with Article 2. A reminder that there is no objection again. We will use the Maine Moderator's Manual as our guide for this meeting. 2021, I think it's the 7th edition. And then the other thing I like to remind is that again, please direct all your questions if you have any to the moderator, not directly to people. All communication should come through the chair or through the moderator. I'm sorry. It's a relatively simple meeting tonight. We have one more article to deal with, Article 2. Article 2, to see if the town will accept a gift of land consisting of 23,849 square feet, together with access easements from the Violet E. Burton Trust. Ooh. Gosh, man. I'm not sure what UWO means, but Albert W. Burton Jr. for that portion of the Forest Hill Cemetery, so-called, that is currently situated on the property of said trust, and more particularly described as follows, and in a plan titled Boundary Survey, Dana Burton, Route 73, Seal Harbor Road, South Thomaston, Knox County, Maine, by Gartley and Dorsey Engineering and Surveying, dated July 11th, 2024, and last revised on October 1st, 2024. A certain lot or parcel of land located approximately 380 feet northerly of Route 73 and approximately 1,400 feet measured northwesterly along Route 73 from said route's intersection with Atlantic Quarry Road in the town of South Thomaston, county of Knox, state of Maine, and being more particularly described below.
I move passage and I also move suspension of further reading of the article.
Second.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion to suspend further reading of the article? Hearing none,
And passage.
and passage.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hearing none, all in favor?
And we have to cast the ballot.
No one.
That was
called for
only
secret
if somebody requested it,
Oh,
so I mean, you just raise your hand.
vote. Nobody did.
All opposed? Being none, the ayes have it. Thank you.
Now we gotta wait. 7 minutes.
Were we also gonna do the,
That's part of this
That's-
agenda though.
Yeah, the 11th.
oh, it's part of our regular.
Eleven,
yeah.
It's 6:45.
Okay.
This one even quicker than I thought. Figured someone would at least have a question.
We do have several people on Zoom call.
That's for the meeting.
Did anybody have a question? Too late now.
we were fast.
We probably should announce, just for the audience on Zoom, we just finished our special town meeting and we have to wait a quarter of before we can start the select board meeting. Okay, I was wondering where I was.
But then we should vote the article.
We did, we just did. We did it.
That's what
Okay,
his motion.
and passage, you're right.
We did.
Thank you. Keep me honest. I didn't go back to think of what the motion was.
It's too.
Yeah, a 2 for 1. This may be the shortest moderator job I've had on record.
Is this, are we finished talking about the shellfish?
No, haven't
No.
started yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that.
The window was taken off the road earlier.
Did it?
Oh my
Really?
gosh, yeah,
I
my
didn't
tires,
realize
I think. My tires bald, but. I was off the road.
Don't want bald tires this time of year.
When I came
I
up
think it's
through,
snow
there was,
tires.
when I came up through, there was a bunch of turkeys around Cheryl's house.
Were there?
Yeah, on each side of the road and the car coming this way and big ones. I was thinking of you coming up that way, unless they're going home. but
Yeah.
I
I
reminded.
didn't see any.
Yeah, I didn't see it when I came through.
I was coming back here and I almost hit 3 deer that ran
Really?
around. Yeah, I was like right down here at this first.
I was
house.
going to work one morning and there was a deer just standing on the side of the road and I just and I slowed right down and he just stood there. And I went by and I just kept looking and looking and looking and finally he crossed, but just stood there for the longest time.
There's a big one on the island. I don't know if you've seen them. Have you?
Yeah, a couple of times. He comes actually right down by Edgar's house. Comes right down
Yeah, I
there.
think he goes into those apples there, or was.
Yeah, he was. And I think there's 3 of them total I've seen on the island.
If you ever go out to the stump dump when it's closed, almost all of the huge flock out there.
Oh, turkeys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
turkeys, yeah.
Somebody was telling me that their neighbor has a whole bunch that come to their house and the neighbor goes out and shoots a gun up in the air. The turkeys run into the woods because the neighbor's out for the back of the yard. He goes into the house and they all come running right back out.
Because they're not afraid.
They said it's kind of comical to watch.
Well, Edgar has bird feeders out there right outside his window, and of course, the seed that drops on the ground, the turkeys are all there cleaning it up. They'll come right up and perch on the railing, he loves it,
Oh, at Edgar's?
yeah,
I've seen him there doing
Yeah.
that, yeah.
he loves it.
It's better to have them clean it up than mice and rats and stuff.
Right. My wife feeds the birds, but I think she really feeds the squirrels.
Yeah, that's it. Can't discriminate.
She, all of a sudden I hear a knock on the window, you get out of there. Who are you talking to?
Yeah, that's right. They just look at you, you know.
Oh, it's not for me?
5 minutes, 5 minutes.
Take a step to adjourn the special meeting. Prior to starting your
So
select
do we
board.
have to adjourn it, or is it just, I think it just. I don't know. You could certainly say without objection, the special town meeting is adjourned.
Just do that as a formality. We'll wait till she comes back. It's a cemetery we've been taking care of anyway.
So you need it. Well, not that long. When did Violet and Albert stop taking care of it?
A couple of years back, seems like.
10 years
In the
ago?
90s,
Huh?
late 90s.
Was it up longer? It's been 20 years, then, okay. We'll go on.
When that's repaired. No, the town installed the split rail fence when they got done. That was what they wanted.
Officially without objection, ended the special town meeting.
But
Make
forgot to add this
note
to your
for
other
minutes.
packet.
Thank you.
The Forest Hills is the cemetery where the Gabby Virgil's plant is buried. The light spring.
Right, right.
He is one of the veterans.
So is this the one with the proposed edits and
Yeah. No, the other one's already in there.
Already in there.
Yeah, I just forgot to add that one. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thanks. Coming on? For 5 minutes on a nasty night?
No, it's all right. Not that nasty.
No. Any of you?
I don't know if that's him that,
First your meeting goes.
I
well.
didn't think you'd come in.
Nagio 10.
I don't think so.
I don't know who
That
that
was,
was.
somebody from the last
Yeah.
meeting, that was, yeah. I heard the door opened,
No, he's gonna zoom in.
and maybe in windows.
Watch pot.
Huh?
I said a watch pot. You know, when you're waiting
Watch
for a
pot
minute
doesn't
or two,
boil.
it seems like it. Watch pot never boils. Did you tell somebody?
Oh, Lord, McLeod.
There's a name down on the left there.
Lori McReal, she said.
So if Danny doesn't do this, you're gonna handle it? Yeah.
And all I have to do is point out what the changes are, right?
Yeah, and answer any questions.
There aren't, I mean, there's not a lot, really. It's- I'll let it go. That isn't what I want. Okay.
Okay, six
Can't see the
forty-five.
changes in the black and white.
I'm gonna call this, meeting of the South Thompson Select Board of December 11th to order at 6:45. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Jeff, would you like to lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'm gonna start off with a public hearing regarding proposed changes to the Georges River shellfish ordinance. I guess I would just point out that this is an ordinance enacted by 5 towns who are members of that, and all 5 towns, in order for it to take effect, have to enact the exact same wording on the ordinance, and I guess Sue is gonna run through the proposed change for us. And it was on the website and went out on the list.
So, the first change is, section. Well, one of the first changes is every place that it said clam. Previously, it now says shellfish, so it's more, inclusive. And then section 2. A new, E has been added about disorderly conduct. A person is guilty of disorderly conduct if in a public place, the person intentionally or recklessly causes annoyance to others by intentionally making loud and unreasonable noises in a public or private place. The person knowingly accosts, insults, taunts, or challenges any person with offensive, derisive, or annoying words, or by gestures or other physical conduct that would in fact have a direct tendency to cause a violent response by an ordinary person in the situation of the person so accosted, insulted, taunted, or challenged. And I believe that was added because sometimes the people selling the licenses have been verbally abused by people trying to get a license. So the next change was section 2L, and I don't know if they added or just changed the name. It looks like Medicos to Meduncook of a river. And on section 2L, other verifiable documentation deemed appropriate by the joint board of selectmen was stricken. Section M was added for homelessness. Homeless adults and or adults receiving services must provide an affidavit by a representative of the agency organization who has knowledge of its residency. And section 0 was also added. Prisoners, any former prisoner applying for a shellfish license must show they lived in one of the participating towns for 2 consecutive years prior to incarceration. And then P was just renumbered. That was a renumbering. And then if you go to, what section is that? Section 11C, no, 11B. They've added a statement at the end of that, failure to notify could result in a license suspension per the joint board. And that is failure to notify of an address change. So the total reading of that section would be a person applying for or holding a commercial shellfish license under this ordinance shall notify the town clerk of the administrative town within 10 days of address change, whether or not the address change is also a change of residence. So they added failure to notify could result in license suspension per the joint board. And then also in section 11, they renumbered, G. And then number H, it's an add-in, license must be signed. The licensee must sign the license to make it valid. The license must be in the holder's possession when engaged in harvesting. By signing the license, the harvester acknowledges that he or she must submit to inspection by the municipal shellfish warden. And then same page, section 16. Depuration digging. While depuration digging is controlled by the state, it is the intent of the ordinance that if and when depuration digging occurs within any of the participating towns, it shall be done with an equal number of residents and non-residents wherever possible. And added in was per state law, surcharge will be levied for each bushel of plants dug under a depuration certificate in accordance with state law. Any monies received from depuration harvesting within the jurisdiction of this ordinance shall be paid directly to the administrative municipality as described in the Georges River Interlocal Clam Management Agreement for use in the clam management account and must be paid in full every 30 days. Then the next change was section 17, the third paragraph down. The suspension of commercial was changed to shellfish license shall begin the following issuance of a summons. Any violation of this ordinance and or management plan may result in a license suspension. All suspensions of licenses shall be authorized by the joint board. And then down toward the bottom of that page, classifications and or penalties for violations. A person shall produce their license on demand of any certified municipal shellfish conservation warden in uniform. And they struck the words "and having probable cause to take such action." It is unlawful for the operator of a motor vehicle, boat, vessel, or conveyance of any kind or any person. And then nothing was changed below that. Then on H. They added the first violation shall result in a fine of not less than $300 and not more than $1,500. The second and subsequent violations shall result in a fine of not less than $500 and not more than $1,500. And the next I, a person may not throw, drop, deposit, discard, dump, or otherwise dispose of litter in any manner or amount. Any person doing so shall be in violation of the municipal ordinance, and they've added, and subject to fines and or suspension per joint board discretion. J, trespass. A person may not access or cross private property or lands without permission. A person having been warned by property owner, their agent, shellfish warden, or any other law enforcement officer shall be in violation of municipal ordinance. And we have added, and may be subject to fines and or suspension per joint board discretion. And K, tagging. The holder of a commercial shellfish license shall identify shell stock the license holder is taken by means of a harvesting tag. This tag shall be in accordance with the Department of Marine Resource rules. Added was any person failing to tag properly shall be in violation of the municipal ordinance and subject to fines and or suspension per joint board discretion. Language that was struck was misconduct. Anyone who is rude or threatening to the town administration shall have their GRRSM shellfish license suspended for 1 month for the first offense and 1 year for the second offense. And added in to replace that was misconduct. Anyone is found to be in violation of disorderly conduct as defined within this ordinance and state law with town administrative staff, joint board, or shellfish committee shall have their shellfish license, commercial or recreational, suspended for 3 months for the first offense and 1 year for the second offense. And that was the only change, last change.
Okay, thank you very much. So, do we know when this is contemplated to be voted on? Do we have a sense of
I
that?
think each town has to vote on
Right,
it,
but I mean,
yeah.
are we talking a few months from now or annual
They would
town
like-
meetings? Or-
I think they would like it as soon as can be
Okay.
done.
Okay. So I'm gonna open the public hearing to the public. We'll start with the public present. No comments. We'll open it up to anyone on Zoom who has questions or comments. Herb, did you have one earlier?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah?
Okay, on the trespass, the finding, suspension on that. How is that determined? What if they couldn't find the landowner? You know, that wasn't there, wasn't home. Would they get fined automatically or how would that, what would we determine that?
Well, they would have to know that they were trespassing. If the
Right.
landowners, they're not supposed to cross somebody's land unless they have previous permission.
Okay. Well, that may be hard to get sometimes, is what I'm saying, especially with me. And I let people cross my land. So I wouldn't want them to get just fined automatically or suspended automatically just for being down there. You know what I mean? I don't
Well,
have
if
any
you
problem.
allow them to cross it, then they wouldn't get fined.
Well, I do have a sign that says call a number, but I mean, I'll pick up, you know. I just want to know if it was an automatic thing or if it's discretionary or how's it work?
Where is that section?
Number 11, down there, the trespass one, I think it's 11.
There.
It says could be, you know, but just. I've let them down there for over 30 years and Lampy let them down there for over 70 years. So, been about
I
100
would
years.
think it would have to, that more than likely, if there was not a complaint by the landowner,
Okay,
that they would not fine them.
all right. And, you know, because I have neighbors down there, they may complain or something. I don't know how that would work, you know.
Well, if it's not their land,
I
No.
know, but they still complain. I wouldn't want to have a mix up, you know, I don't want to see anybody that's just down there and says, okay, I'll leave if the, you know, the warden tells them to leave or something, or,
yeah,
you know, they're agreeable. They mouth off or something, you know, probably. They get, well, there's another rule for that.
yeah, they don't want to mouth off.
Well, there's
Uh,
another rule for misconduct.
Right.
Okay, I just was, I know that would work. It was not automatic or it would be automatic.
No, I don't think it's automatic. I think
Okay.
there probably has to be a complaint.
All right,
Perhaps you could bring that
Yeah,
comment question
yeah.
back to the
yep.
Danny and the board, just a. Other comments, questions? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. I don't believe we need to take any action, do we?
No,
At this point, you'll come back to us and we'll have to schedule a special
Yeah.
town meeting at some point, but that's not until this is finalized. Okay, thank you very much, Sue. Adjustments to the agenda. I have a few. That I've been talking with Hannah about. I'd like to. Adjust the agenda to consider some personnel changes in the ambulance department leadership. I would like to, or Hannah would like to discuss, a COLA for budgeting purposes as well as a department head budget letter. Hannah also would like to discuss health insurance buyouts for the staff in the office that are not taking full. And I just want to acknowledge that we had from Kevin, I don't think we need to take any action, but this sales analysis for Maine Revenue Service, has everybody seen that? Not looking good. No. Sales, I haven't gone through it all, but the sale prices are, as a rule, way over what we have assessed, and I mean way over in some cases, so. Other adjustments? Hannah, you have anything else? Thought there was one other thing,
Kevin's contract.
Kevin's
Yes.
contract. So the assessors agent's contract. Anything else? Okay. Review and approval of the prior meeting minutes, November 12th and November 26th. I had comments on both of those and I sent them to Hannah. We just got the 26th now. I'm assuming did it incorporate all the comments, my comments, or all of them, or some of them? And the 12th we had earlier, so. So we ready for a motion on those? Do we want to do them individually? Do we want time to look at the 26th since we just got it revised, or how do you want to handle
I'm good with it, with both of them.
it? Okay, want to make that a motion?
Yeah, I'd move, we approve the minutes from November 12th and November 26th as amended.
I'll second that.
Okay, further discussion, all those in favor? Public comment items not on the agenda? Any? Anybody in the audience? Okay, I'm gonna jump around a little here, we have a few guests with us, so I'm gonna jump down to 8D, consider memorandum of understanding and support. I think that's supposed to say support letter of the climate action plan grant. This is something that Neil Cambridge, as the chair of the resiliency committee, has requested that we consider tonight. Two different documents, and I believe Meg Rasmussen is here as well to address that. So Neil, I guess I'll open it to you for a little brief introduction and.
Sure. So just a brief recap, just to explain, what it's all about. Is we are seeking funding for a climate action plan, which technically the town of St. George is going to be applying for that and will be the applicant and management of that. But the climate action plan is really going to be an overall plan for what you might call our region or our two towns on this neck. And in addition to that, it's also going to specify what might be unique to different parts of the plan necessary for the town. So we're looking at an overall project for a plan that's going to fund a resource to start managing and coordinating that, in addition to funding resources for other parts of the plan that we have to do, such as community engagement and data analysis, etc. So the memorandum of understanding technically doesn't have to be signed until, I think, Meg will correct me if I'm wrong, has to be signed until we actually win the grant. But I think given that St. George has to submit that application on the 17th of this month, it would be nice if we had that in place. So any questions you might have, I mean, that's just sort of the brief picture. Meg and I are here to answer any questions you might have about that.
Yeah, Sue, questions?
Nope, I'm good with it. But you do don't need this signed prior to the application, but you do need a letter of support signed. Is
Letter-
that right?
That is correct. The MOU would be nice to have with the package, but it's not ultimately necessary, right, Meg?
That's right. And, St. George is not, hasn't reviewed the draft. I mean, I don't want to say that. They have reviewed the draft, but if there's any changes, I think what I need to do is kind of find out if you have any issues with it, if they do, and then when we're ready to have a final version of it, get that to you to sign, so. But this
Well-
basically lays out that the money goes to St. George to fund the work of the project, and that South Thomaston is not a recipient of the grant funding, but is a partner in the community action planning process.
So if I read that correctly, in effect, St. George will be the fiscal agent in the sense that they will the money will flow to them, they'll deal with any purchasing, contracting, if there's an employee, whatever. That's all gonna flow through their administrative systems, correct?
That's exactly right.
Okay. I'm personally am fine with the letter of support, and I'm fine with the MOU as written. But if you think it might not be the final one, from St. George's perspective, maybe it does make sense to hold off and. But I don't have any comments on it. But I don't know if Jeff or Sue do, so.
The only question I've got on the MOU is that it does have a cost share table that says that there'd be a 10% local match. But I didn't see anything where St. George was asking for funds from us. So I'm
No.
assuming St. George will cover that 10% or
There is no 10% cost share in this grant, so I'll have to get rid of that.
Oh, okay, because that was my understanding, there was no cost share.
Correct.
Where is that, Jeff?
That's on page 15.
15,
Good catch.
second half of the page.
Are you looking at the application or the MOU?
I think it's the application.
Yeah,
It
the
is
app-
the application.
Yeah, the application, that there is no cost share, so that just stays blank in the application.
We did, I'm sorry, I can't recall. But didn't we have a copy of the draft application at one point?
I think whatever you had, I think, and John, we had that confusion of sort of emails back over the past month. But what I sent out in the packet is the current draft of that project proposal. And I think, Meg, if anything, it's probably final save, dotting the i's and crossing the t's, right?
That's right.
Okay, so for example, there is no. I do see where it's filled out, but there's no discussion at all in the box that says, for example, budget narrative. So in that sense, is it not, I mean, it doesn't even say not applicable, it's just blank, so. I'm assuming that needs more, at least something like not applicable.
Right, no, I think it was an earlier draft. Since then I have a very tight budget narrative written. It's the budget is 123,000. And
My apologies if I sent you right. I thought I sent the right one, but if
Well,
not, we can.
A lot's floating around. I will say though that I think it's a lot better if everything is coordinated through Hannah. As opposed to
Okay.
one of us, and that way we're all on the same page.
Got it.
Because,
Okay.
I just think that'd make it easier for everybody, and then, it's all sort of on one point, so.
Got it. Okay.
So, we can suspect a revised draft, or I take it, so that's all the more reason to wait, I guess,
On the MOU.
on the MOU.
Yeah.
Yeah, so is there a motion to approve the letter of support, which does need to go in with the grant application of the 17th, and we don't meet again until January, so.
Right. So moved.
Second.
Okay, and when I say the letter of support, we're talking about the draft that Neil sent us.
Correct.
Hopefully we get the right one. Okay.
Well, that was it.
Further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you, and I apologize for any confusion that I've had to this. It's just
Well,
so
likewise.
much paper, so
Likewise.
many paper and emails, and I'll be honest with you, I get lost when there's more than like 6 emails piggyback.
Right.
I like to actually
Right.
start over again. So, okay, thank you.
Thank-
Anything
Well,
else?
thank you.
Anything else?
Just thank you for getting us higher up on the agenda. Appreciate it.
Okay.
This is Sandra.
Okay,
I just, Neil sent the draft letter to me also for the Conservation Commission. I just wanted to note that we spotted some typos that particularly they're in all the letters, that the zip code starts with 1 when it should start with 0, of course. And just a couple other things I can get to you. Is Neil going to be, who's going to be actually putting the letter together to be signed? So
If
that
you
I
want
can just
some,
get to them the editorial corrections.
send that to me, Sandra. Okay. If you
Okay.
want, and I'll send it to Hannah.
Okay,
And
good
so
enough.
we'll try to get that done by tomorrow, eh?
That's fine.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Sandra, as usual, shit eagle eye.
Mhm.
Trivia is important sometimes.
It is. Okay, thank you. All right, moving on. You guys are welcome to stay, but you certainly don't feel like you have to.
All right, thank you much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay, let's, where are we at with Kristen? We're just gonna deal with that, hopefully, potentially in executive session, correct? I just got that letter, I quickly read it, but.
Yeah, she would like to do
Okay,
that.
so we're gonna skip that. Why don't we skip over the demo to read for now, and come back to that? Update on the solar rebate, I think that's quick.
Yeah, nothing as of this moment. I'm still waiting to hear back from the IRS.
Okay. How long, are you gonna follow up at some point, or,
It says it takes 30 to 50 days for them to even,
okay, and how many days are we in? More or less, just more or less.
like 2 weeks.
Okay, well, let's keep it on the agenda though, so we don't lose sight of it. And D will put off to later. Waive building permit for a fire department shed. Is there a motion?
I move we waive the permitting fee for fire department shed.
I'll second that.
And that's in the amount of $50.40, is that correct?
Yes.
Discussion? All those in favor? We have on the agenda, there's an accept the resignation of Maureen Spencer from the Library Community Center. So those committees, she submitted that to Hannah, I think a week ago, Tuesday. For those of you who don't know, Maureen passed away, I believe it was Saturday evening, is that correct? So when I last talked to her, which was Monday evening at the meeting, she was insistent that she wanted to get this letter in. And I told her, don't worry about it, that's the last thing that needs to be on your mind, but she did it, and so I guess, I'm not sure what the proper protocol here is, it's probably moot point, but I'd like to at least acknowledge it. And thank her for just a general public thank you for her efforts, and perhaps send a note to her husband. Does that seem appropriate?
Yes.
Okay. Let's, do we have Kevin's proposed contract here in front of us?
Should be other packet.
My other package.
Packet, I just, in that one.
I do.
And that's, should be in the
Okay.
one I gave you.
This is it,
Just
flipped in this,
it's just. Thing there.
That's the services contract.
okay. So have you? Are there any changes to this, do you know, have you looked it over, or we just got this today, so.
I don't know what the last one looked like, so. He just sent that for you,
Now, when does the contract expire?
the end of this month.
Oh, But we haven't had a chance to look over the numbers or anything.
No,
I'm reluctant to sign it then, but on the other hand, it expires before we meet again, so. I personally would like to have some time to look at this and compare it to the last one. And put it on the next agenda, and I think it's only, 15 days, I think Kevin would be accommodate us for the time to do that,
I agree.
objection to that, so we can table this to the next meeting.
So moved.
Seconded.
Further discussion? All those in favor? Just, we need to look at that a little closer, I feel. And while we're on that, I wanted to acknowledge that we got from Kevin today as well. Assessors agent, when I say Kevin, the main revenue service sales analysis, I haven't had a chance to go through them, but just glancing at these, it looks like our assessed values are, as a rule, way under the actual sale values. I don't know, Jeff, did you look at it quickly?
I did look at it.
I didn't
Yeah.
add them up and aggregate them and put them in a spreadsheet, but just glancing at it, I mean, right out of the gate, the first one's 192,000 under on a $895,000 sale. So this tells me we're looking at another factor.
Yeah.
But, why don't we put this on the next agenda and we can all have some little time to look at it and maybe put it into a spreadsheet, because it's hard to look at it now because the sales value in one column is total, I believe. And then the assessed value is broken down by land and buildings, so you gotta kind of add the two together to compare it to the sales.
And some of those are blank because the code wasn't put in, so there's,
Yeah,
there's some anomalies with. the-
yeah, and I don't quite even know what that means, no code entered.
Right.
Some of those, I think, I understand, it's, one of them is a piece of Jeffrey Smith's property out here, so. I mean, I think that's an anomaly, but. So let's put that on the January agenda, Hannah. If you would. It wasn't on the agenda, so I don't think we need to take a motion or anything, so. We did that. Done that, that's gonna be after. Okay, let's move to ambulance. Personnel situation, we met as a board in executive session with the ambulance director and assistant director or deputy director, I never can keep those two items straight. And the director is indicated she wants to step down by the end of the year as the director and stay on helping the new director with some of the more administrative type paperwork that she can do from afar, and this is all for personal reasons, which I won't go into. So after meeting with them, discussing things, we hashed out a plan, at least, I think we did, for until we at least get to next budget season. And I believe, Jeff, you have a motion or motions?
Well, I've got it all in one.
Okay.
I think it'll cover it. So I would make a motion to accept EMS Director Drinkwater's resignation as the director with our regrets and thanks, and appoint Chief Elwell as the EMS Director into the EMS Director position with an annualized salary of $11,000. To promote the Assistant EMS Director Colson to Deputy EMS Director, so both of those are moving up a notch, with an annualized salary of $5,000, and to assign Amy Drinkwater to Assistant EMS Director, so she's now going down to the bottom spot, with an annualized salary of $4,159, effective January 1, 2025.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
And just so everybody knows, that's budget neutral.
Correct.
The numbers add up, they're a little different, $800 increase in one and $800 or 800 and some change in another, but the total is the
The
same
same.
as we budgeted.
Yes.
I really want to thank David for willing to step up to this, because this is taking on a lot.
Yeah.
And I also potentially, I see, the more I thought about this, I do think there's potentially some issues here as we move down the road. I mean, it already came up at one meeting, but I mean, the line between a fire department personnel and an EMS personnel may get blurred, and you know, and you're on scene because we have so many people working both. Who's doing what and who's working for what? And I mean, just how we pay them. I mean, we pay the fire people quarterly, and we pay the EMS people every 2 weeks. So, did I work EMS on that scene, or did I work fire on that scene, and where do I, you know, so, I mean, and that's a simple issue. So, I think there's gonna be some challenges associated with that. Having said that, I think it probably in the long run is a good thing. But I think we need to work through some of those details that may come up, and we'll say, oh, I hadn't thought about that, so.
I mean, on the other side of it, a lot of departments have already gone through those mass donations.
Yeah.
Because Rockland, Thomaston, Camden have joint EMS and fire. You know, just one department,
Yeah.
one person.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I don't think it's as simple as saying this is
Right.
the way it's gonna be. We're gonna have to think through.
correct. Correct. I agree.
You know, the ambulance has certain SOPs, I assume the fire department does, and then we have the personnel policy, and,
Mhm.
you know, it gets. It gets complicated, so. But having said that, we need to move on, come January 1st. So is there any questions or comment from the public? Okay, without further ado, all those in favor? Aye. So, Hannah, please make sure that everybody's personnel file is well documented here with the dates and stuff, because this could get confusing 5 years from now when you're trying to look at this. What happened? Let's go back to the adjustments, because I tend to forget those if we don't deal with them. We did put it as an adjustment, that COLA for budget planning purposes. I can't believe budget planning is upon us. And Hannah gave us I think somewhere you gave us what the social
Yeah.
security.
2.5.
Social security, I know is 2.5.
On the,
It's also DOD's and US government and Knox County are all doing 2.5.
Who is Knox County and him?
Knox County, Department of Defense, State Department. Pretty much any federal government salary.
And then Hannah gave us some local towns. St. George is proposing 3%. And there's a whole other list of towns, but most of them are not really. They're bigger towns, Kittery, Standish, not so much Reedfield, but
I called other places around here and they also, they haven't,
haven't got that far.
yeah.
Yeah, like Cushing and.
Yep.
Yeah. I guess. My thought, I'll throw it out there, you know, when the COLA is high, we go with COLA. So when the COLA is low, why don't we go with COLA?
I
That's
agree.
my general.
And I mean, that's my philosophy, is that COLA is designed to make them even over what happened over the last year.
Right.
I mean, philosophically, it would be ideal if we could do COLAs that were based on what the future's gonna be. So we're paying them in anticipation of the cost of living going up. But there's two problems with that. One is predicting what it's gonna be.
Right.
But the other is that we've been doing in the past,
Yeah.
So if we transition to do in the future, we'd end up having in 1 year to do double basically.
Yeah,
So if we assume next year was gonna be 2.5, then we would have to give in 1 year, this year, 5% instead of 2.5. But so I think for now, we're probably better off just staying the course and sticking with 2.5. And that would be my motion is that we set the COLA for this year of 2.5%.
Yeah, some of these that are higher, we don't know if they're that they're catching up with something they didn't do
Right,
in the past couple of years.
or a
Yeah.
union contract
Right.
is mandating this.
Right.
Yeah. So is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, I'm gonna support that. I would point out though, for the public and us and the employees, that typically in the budget letter, if we offer people an opportunity, if circumstances this is a code we're dealing with here. But if circumstances has changed, you're certainly welcome to come before the select board and argue. The extreme case, I was working 2 hours a week, now I'm working 102 a week. I mean, exaggerating, but that, we provide that opportunity. And,
Right.
and theoretically, vice versa, I'm only working 2 hours a week now, cut my salary,
Right,
I haven't heard that yet.
yeah, that rarely happens.
So why don't we deal with the COLA first? Further discussion? All those in favor? Okay, now the budget letter itself, we're actually a little behind the eight ball here. We had this out last year, December 11.
You're gonna change it to your name.
I'll do that after that.
No.
I'll change everything else. Gosh.
What? What's that?
As if she has to put her name on here instead of Terry.
Oh, yeah.
You did change it further down.
I know I did work somewhere in there.
And the dates all need to be updated, right?
Yeah.
I did all that,
You did, okay.
Yeah. except for my name.
Yeah, and I'd really like to emphasize too, which is what I just talked about before. Last year, at budget time, we got hit with a couple of department heads who didn't come in ahead of time, just submitted the budgets. And didn't come in ahead of time with sort of a justification or rationale for why they were making an increase, and I quite honestly felt like number two was just sort of ignored.
Right.
So Hannah, I personally would like you to stress number two, that's
Leave it in
in red
red.
here.
Yeah.
Huh?
Leave it in red.
Yeah, leave it in red. Other than that, I'm fine with it as it is. I mean, I think it's sort of the standard, here we go, kick it off letter. So is there a motion to approve the letter with the change from Terry Baines to,
Oh, and change the 3.2 to 2.5.
yeah, sorry. Oh, I thought that was 2.5, but with the 3.2 thing.
Last year.
Oh, last year. Okay, and, but I am curious about the February 5th date. Was that just lifted from last year?
That was just on there. I just went with whatever was on there.
What day is that, you know?
Off the top of my head.
I just don't know if February 5th came really early last year and
It's a Wednesday.
So maybe make that February 4th.
February 3rd is the Monday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you wanna change it to February 4th, keep it consistent?
Yep.
Okay, and are you up to date with giving them all that information? There's a lot of data it's kind of beyond just the trio thing. In terms of the information that department heads, particularly the bigger ones, are gonna want. Can you make that work? You think?
What, February?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of work to that, so.
Yeah.
If because it isn't just breaking it down by contracted services, it's gonna be breaking it down for example, contracted services, they're gonna wanna know. And how much was this, how much was that, how
Yeah.
much was it, inside contracted service, and that gets complicated.
Mhm.
Okay, I just wanna make sure you're not stressing yourself. All right, is there a motion on the letter with those changes? Or
Did you say February 4?
Yeah,
Give me a Tuesday, okay.
or did we already do that?
No, so moved.
Second,
Second,
all those in favor? Okay. Okay, let's deal with the insurance buyouts. Anna, can you update us on what we're doing here or what's proposed? Why we're doing this tonight?
So it's the,
Do we have a document on this?
no. I just forgot to copy it.
Well, that's all right. So we're dealing, this is health insurance we're dealing with.
Yes.
And we have 3 people who qualify for health insurance. And none of them are taking what they're fully entitled to. In your case, you're not taking single coverage. But, or family, but you're not
Right.
entitled to the family. Yeah, I mean, you can take it, but you gotta pay for it.
Right.
Okay. So you're looking for a buyout or a payment in lieu in accordance with our personnel policy of the single coverage that you could qualify but are not taking, correct?
Yeah.
And then Bill and Terry are both taking single, but are eligible for family, but are not taking family. So they're looking for the, whatever, I don't know what the percentage is, but
have we seen the letters requesting that?
I
Yeah,
have not.
that's what it is. I think I'll do that.
This just came on, this first I heard about it was today.
Does it need to be voted on tonight?
I don't know,
Before the.
before the beginning of the year.
Right.
And in order to get the buyout, you have to prove that you have insurance elsewhere.
It's supposed to.
Okay,
I don't have my personnel policy in front of me.
because we would need that too.
Yeah, we're not trying to discourage people to go around without health insurance.
Right.
Provide them an incentive to.
Well, and we don't, yeah, we
Right.
don't want to pay them just because they prefer not to have health insurance.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh, here, take this money and don't get health insurance.
right.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about this. It was gonna be come up tonight until like 2 o'clock.
Kind of late.
And I think someone remembered they're supposed to have their letters in by. Thought it was December 1st, but I could be wrong. Hey Hannah, can you grab a copy of the personnel policy? Just one? We can pass it around.
Also, does that have the days like that they get out early? Because she was also asking about Christmas Eve. In an email. I don't think anybody answered the question.
I came in and said, what did we do last year? And Terry said, oh, when Barbara was here, we used to get out around noon, but the last few years, we've let everyone go around 2 or 3.
Yeah,
And I said, well, see if you hear from the other people. I said, I don't care.
but I thought you said that it was written somewhere, but.
No, what I said was, it's not granted in the personnel policy.
Alright.
I think we should come up with a policy for that.
Yeah.
Instead of every year, just, what are we gonna do?
Well, don't, I brought it down here.
Oh, you can't find the list? Thank you. Okay, full-time employees eligible under 12C, which is a single subscriber where the town pays 90%. Who elect, so this would govern Hannah, who elect not to participate and are covered by another health insurance plan for the entire calendar year. May apply for health insurance benefits buyout. This stipend with review and approval of the board will normally be 50% of the town's annual share of the premium. So it's actually, it actually saves the town money if you want.
Right.
Yeah. Application with proof of alternative coverage must be made to the select board and paid out on a schedule or lump sum agreed by the employee committee and supervisor. That's actually new. That used to be, you got it at the end of the year. I think that changed when Owen was here.
Be easier to do one lump sum at,
Well, the trouble is if you do it ahead of time, someone leaves.
right,
If-
right, but at the end of the year.
That's why
Yeah.
we used it. Full-time employees after 5 years service who do not enroll family
That's all my
members
crap. As I move it.
may apply for health benefits buyouts. This stipend with review and approval of the board will normally be equal to 25% of the lowest family health insurance plan. So the three family health insurance plans, they used to be, it's like full plan, full family, parent with child, and couple. And I think the cheapest one was parent with child, believe it or not.
Yeah, it
You
is.
could have 7 kids and that'd be cheaper than. I think it's,
I know that ours is that way.
yeah, I think it's because the actuaries with age is just a
Is,
lot.
right.
Yeah.
Kids are cheaper to insure.
That's pretty much it. So they're supposed to, with their letters, they're supposed to provide benefits of their coverage, so. So with Terry, that's not an issue,
No,
because she's got nobody,
right,
and
and it would,
actually with Phil, it doesn't either, because it doesn't say that you're. It doesn't say that you have to show coverage for your spouse or your partner.
why do we give them a benefit of a stipend because they don't cover a spouse?
Because it could, and it would cost 100% instead of 25%.
We have to pay 100% of spousal
Well,
coverage
no,
as
no,
well?
no, it would be 100%
100% of
of what we pay, which is,
is the rate with spouse.
yeah. So, yeah, so in effect, we pay 50% of the lowest family amount. So if they took the insurance, it would cost us twice as much as if they didn't. I mean, we can change this, we can't tonight, but
No,
I mean, but,
I think it should be looked at. It seems,
well, that's a good project.
Yeah.
Look at it.
You have experience in this area.
I do.
When did we do that? 2 years ago?
Oh, I don't know.
I do remember this. Agonized number, actually.
Yeah, it's hard, February 8th, 2022,
Yeah, 2 years ago. It's about.
but I mean, this is upon
it's
us
a good
now.
winter project.
Huh?
It's a good winter project
Yeah,
after Christmas.
this is on us now, so it'll really be good for maybe next year.
Yeah.
So I hate to ask you this, but do they have proof of insurance like they're supposed to?
Yes.
Perfect. So the only one who needs it is you, right?
Phil has his wife on there as well,
On when?
his, paper for insurance,
To prove that she has insurance.
to prove that she
Yeah,
has.
but I don't think he needs to. Maybe he does.
Well, he should.
Well, it doesn't say that though.
No, it should though.
Okay, maybe it should, but it doesn't say. I think our concern was more with the employee than it was with. I'm impressed though that we even have that.
So is that Phil's?
Yeah, you guys
It's all free.
look at them, all three of them. Let me just double check with, make sure what I said is correct. It's actually, I think, served as well. Just add it. Oh, here it is. Yeah, no, it doesn't, well, it only requires it for the employee, it doesn't require proof of insurance for dependents. We don't care about the spouse.
Is this what you would get from Maine Clear, that's all you?
Yeah. We get cards, but we haven't gotten Harper's yet, it's been over a year.
We're good?
Yep.
Okay, you wanna approve all three? At once or do them individually?
Three at once.
Okay, motion,
I move we authorize payment of the health insurance stipend in accordance with the personnel policy for all three of the employees.
I'll second that.
okay. And further discussion, you're gonna work on over the course of next year?
I am. I will.
Okay.
I do have experience doing that.
Further discussion? All those in favor? Okay, good. Is that it for the adjustment?
Can I have that copy of the policy? The one that had the insurance stuff on it?
Actually, the whole policy you could work on. if you
Yeah,
want. Okay, we dealt with the ambulance, the COLA, the health insurance, sales analysis, okay. Let's go, deal with that. Deal with that. Deal with that. For Maine Coast Seafood is probably gonna be executive session, as is. Possible review with the town administrator. So, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, look, watch me closely. So the only thing I think we have left is.
We have, the
What?
demo.
Yeah.
And then we also have,
And the what?
that disciplinary action against Greg.
Yeah. Yeah,
Should be it.
I had those two. Okay, let's deal with. Let's deal with the disciplinary action against Gregory Rehnquist. You all got a copy of the letter we sent him? We had trouble delivering it, correct?
I sent it, one to his supposed girlfriend's house and then one to his house, and I haven't gotten anything back, so.
And I did put in the letter that failure for him to not appear was not an excuse.
Right.
So do we wanna do something about this? I mean, I feel strongly we need to support Dana.
Oh, definitely.
And I don't think you can suspend it for 2 weeks, because he's just gonna let it sit in the shop for 2 weeks and then bring it up there, so I think we gotta be talking. Personally, I think we need to be talking 6 months or even a year.
I was leaning towards a year. I think mistreating the employees out there and blatantly throwing in their face their violation of our, the practice that everybody goes through, that everybody does. requires some stiff reaction.
Yeah.
And so I personally would like to take away his privileges for a year.
Is that a motion?
That is a motion.
And he's not, he had an opportunity to be here tonight, he's not, let the record show that, Hannah. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Further discussion, I will say, now this can be a challenge as well.
Right.
We need to talk with Dana and Phil and maybe even Knox County Sheriff's Department, because we don't certainly want to engage someone. I think the answer is don't confront, don't engage, just simply call the police department right now. Okay, further,
Ask one thing.
Yeah.
Should I, send him like a letter stating that it's his?
oh, definitely, yeah, yeah. And we held this hearing, he failed to show.
Okay.
Yeah, we can work on something, yeah, no, we definitely wanna show that he had a chance to come in here and defend himself, for lack of a better word, and he chose not to. Okay, further discussion, and I think it's important to support Dana, if we're gonna make this work, we've got to support Dana,
Mhm.
so. Okay, all those in favor? So I think, yeah, and the other thing is we'll want that sticker back.
Okay.
So we just can't give it to, you know, a brother or something.
Well, it expires
Well, no, we extended them.
till,
We extended them till further notice, right? That's on
Oh.
2 meetings ago.
okay, I didn't know if we did it till.
But we're getting
Yeah.
closer, I hope. Okay, so moving on to transfer station, and I apologize for getting this out last minute, but I did meet again with Phil and Terry and Hannah, we were talking a lot, and I typed up some other additional changes to what you got last week, and I couldn't make the second level turn to a different color. So I tried to highlight in yellow where those further changes are. One is in C2, under the form, that the log that we keep, I think we need to start including the name, or I guess collectively, we think we need to start including the name of the property owner of the debris source. And the email and phone number of the property owner, because we have nowhere to verify now, and that would give us at least a chance to do that.
Yeah, because we can't find out whether a plate number belongs to somebody in town, right?
License plate number?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can if it's in town, right, Hannah?
What?
Plate, vehicle plate number,
That's registered
If it's
through
in-
our town.
Yeah, only if it's registered.
and are we supposed to do that?
I mean,
I mean,
people can register other
you
places.
could, yeah, you can have a vehicle in Florida, but live here.
No, are we supposed to look up plates for it? Is it allowable to access that information for a non-automotive purpose? In other words, never mind, we'll do it.
I don't know.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we have the authority to,
We can't, yeah.
I don't know that, we may not, but. But anyway, be that as it may, increase the sticker from 10 to 20 per your suggestion. I increased the truck load stuff. I try to keep everything in a $5 increment, so the pickup truck went to $15, but a half or less load would be 10. A one axle trailer, 8 feet or less would be $25, but a half load would be 15. An axle and trailer greater than 8 feet, which does carry a lot, by the way. I went and measured John Levin's house. It's $30, but a half load or less would be 20. A 2-axle trailer, which is similar to the one John Levin's has, is $40, but a half load would be 25. A 1-ton truck, $30, half load 20, half or less. And a single axle dump truck, $40, half or less 25. You still have to pay a fee for mattress, box springs, stuffed chairs, or other furniture, rope. And larger vehicles are not included. But then the other change we talked about. And I'm just gonna read it, it says, and this may need a little polishing, but notwithstanding D and F above, contractors may apply for a declaration of a contractor in good standing. Such a declaration will exempt a contractor from the requirements that contractors cannot purchase vouchers on behalf of the property owner. Something's messed up there. I have to work on that, but basically, it exempts them from having the property owner having to buy it and then authorizing. Exemptions may be granted by the facility operator upon payment of an annual fee of $1,000 and based on standards promulgated by him or her. Their decision is final. But standards to be applied include, but are not limited to clear and consistent compliance with requirements set forth in this manual, cooperative compliance with directives of the attendant or facility operators, prompt payment of fees, transparency as a source of debris. Annual fees may be paid in advance, but must be paid in advance, but may be paid in quarterly payments of $250. No refunds will be granted.
So does that,
That's a long way of saying you're exempt from the requirement that you still have to pay, you don't have to pay the fee on a regular basis,
Mhm.
with the exception of the mattress and the sofas and those things. You can just pay the standard fee. And you do not have to have the property owner buy the voucher. You can buy it yourself because we're sort of trusting that they're a contractor in good standing.
so the contractor could pay $1,000 a year and then there's nothing else after that?
Unless he brought in a mattress or a box spring. And I don't know if $1,000's enough, personally.
Well, it would be hard to say. It would be hard to say. I mean, I don't know.
I think contractors will make their own decisions. Do they wanna put up with the hoops you gotta jump through, or am I just better off to give you $250 and I don't know. It's a thought. And I think it would simplify the front office work and simplify it for a lot of the regulars.
Are these contractors residents?
They wouldn't have to be.
But I trust them that their stuff they're bringing in, if they pay that.
I do
Well, they still have to, that still has to come from South Thomas.
There needs to be a way to verify that.
Right, and that's why we added the requirement that the log include the name of the property owner and the contact information of the property owner. So we could theoretically do a validation. Did so-and-so bring in?
Yeah.
Is he working for you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think if we're gonna do this, we can kind of. This is for contractors that are serving people in South Thomas, and so I don't think we can. Separate between resident and non-resident here, I mean.
Oh, as far as contractor goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's their own stuff, yes, but if they're doing, if you hire someone from Rockland and I hire for someone from South Thomaston, why do I get an advantage?
Right.
But I'd like to definitely hold a public hearing on this or some. I mean, with a little bit of polish, I'm kind of ready to go to the January meeting, public hearing and see what kind of
Yeah.
pushback we get. And I'd like to get it out to, we know pretty much who the regulars are, contractors, right, Hannah? Bill does, or,
Yeah.
and I'd like to get it in their hands. Sort of more than just a general on the listserv type of thing.
Okay.
I'm talking to Jeff and Sue, but that's okay. So do we think we're close enough to do that, or?
I do.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think so.
okay. It's a radical change, but everybody's doing it.
Well, yeah, and it's costing us so much more.
Yeah.
And the people using it the most should be the ones paying for it, not everybody else.
And our transportation And even if we weren't getting more, we're getting a lot more, our transportation and disposal fees are climbing through the roof.
We've got to catch.
And
Huh?
if we're the only ones around that aren't doing it, it's not surprising that we're getting people
Right.
cheating to get in here to do it.
And we're definitely, go ahead, sorry.
Well, I do have one other, right now, this is all under the operations and maintenance manual. I think we've gone beyond an operations. manual. I think this warrants an ordinance type. So I'm thinking that we change the name to operations and maintenance manual and ordinance.
Yeah, I thought the one downside to that is we can't make mid-course corrections easily. I would, if we are gonna go that route, I would rather have sort of like an enabling ordinance that then gave us permission to
Right, to.
set fees or, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
But I mean, we're late now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like a great project for someone.
He's handing out the projects
Ordinance
tonight.
review committee.
But, yeah,
Maybe because we're reaching out and saying, here are things that could happen to you if you don't do this. This is that we've gone a little bit beyond.
no, I agree, I agree, but this is the document we had to work with, and rather than, I mean, I think personally, the whole thing's a mess, it talks about access road in two places.
Yeah.
But I do think we can summarize the more salient changes for the public hearing, rather than,
Yes.
you know, put this on the website, but maybe have a summary sheet that shows the more.
Yep.
But I think it's important too, when we send it out, that people understand that everybody else is charging.
Right.
Right.
And you know, some of the contractors come in and tell us that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they come in and say, you guys are crazy, everybody else is charging. I mean, that's what Bill tells me.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, someone came in and said, you know, I would pay $400 for this at Rockland or something like that, I mean, you know.
Rockland's expensive, very expensive.
Okay. What's next? Scheduled meetings, we have January scheduled. We have two, right? Or just one? Can't remember. I think we have two. Oh, we still have no applicants for the EMA director. And
So is Becky acting?
No,
no, she
She
resigned
resigned.
as of the end
So-
of the month.
we have,
I make up my own mind, this power goes out tonight and whether I.
No, she's still EMA director until January.
Okay, so,
Yeah, but we've got no applicants, so
no,
I guess after January 1st, if we don't have money, I guess the answer is yes. You gotta do what you gotta do, right?
I don't have anything in January.
the 14th
I thought we had the 14th and the
and the
28th.
28th.
Oh, you might not have been here.
Right. That makes sense.
That's why you don't have it. And then we have the 18th for a workshop. I just briefly wanted to talk, I talked with Penny a little about this, but the venue, Kevin Montford suggested that maybe we do it at the church. I'm sort of not in favor of that for a couple of reasons. One is, pardon?
I don't think you'll have that many people.
I don't either, number one. Number two, I'd rather get it recorded on our.
Yeah.
Then, share that. And the other thing is, in the back of my mind, I think we looked into this a few years ago, and if we were gonna have a town meeting there, we had to cover or remove all the religious icons and,
well, the only thing in the fellowship hall is the picture of the Last Supper.
okay. Okay, well, that's only one then. But it just feels like it's overkill. And I'd rather have people come to Guilford Butler
And I
and
think.
get a better feel maybe even after the meeting on what they're talking about.
I don't think the numbers are gonna require us to go.
No, it's a week before Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if you got that many
Yeah, me
people.
too. And that room, you can, if we made a little C in the front as opposed to a U, you could put a lot of people in there
Oh, yeah.
and standing room, right? Okay, so you still agree?
Yeah,
I know it's, you said it's our meeting, but yeah.
So the 18th at what time did we settle on?
We decided 6, because we were trying to maximize the number of people.
Okay, yeah,
If we
that's what I-
did,
that's
if we
what I
did 3 or
have,
4,
okay.
that's not gonna
Yeah.
help that,
Okay.
so.
so December 18th at
Guilford,
6 o'clock, at the Guilford Bucket.
Yeah, and I'll email Kevin back and tell him we briefly discussed it. If you want me to, or I will, I'll volunteer.
And again, I thought the primary purpose of this meeting was for the committee to let us know what they've been doing and what direction they're kind of heading in. I didn't know this was prime time.
Well, we will also be putting out the draft concept plan to the public. the
Yeah,
greater
I think
public.
they were looking, my sense was, they were looking to report to the selectmen sort of first, and then whatever public was there would hear that, and then open it up to questions and comments from the public after.
That makes
Cause
sense.
I think there's a bit of an appetite there, there's been, what, 6, 7 people from the public, pretty much every meeting, and, you know,
Yeah.
they just comments. and-
I agree, there's an appetite.
Yeah, so, okay. So, but it is primarily an update from the committee to the select board.
Okay.
Primarily. Okay, so. Andrew, am I missing anything? I know I got the 2 agenda items. I mean, executive sessions.
Yep, that's it.
Let's do Maine Coast Seafood first, and Kristen says that we can go into executive session because we're communicating via the email that she sent us. So is there a motion to, I don't have the quote in front of me.
I wrote it on the bottom of her email, but it should go,
I don't have it.
should be in the other packet.
Oh, no,
Oh,
that,
right here, I've got one.
no, that was Jim.
This one?
You can make a motion if you got it.
Oh.
Okay, so I would make a motion that we go into executive session, in accordance with first MRSA 4056E to consult with our lawyer and for a personnel matter, right? We're gonna go into executive session and do both, right?
Okay. There a second?
Oh, I'll second that.
Is, further discussion? All those in favor? So, just so the public knows who's left, we're gonna go into executive session. It could be a little bit of a while. I don't anticipate us taking any action when we come out. Well, no, I don't
No,
anticipate
other
that.
than communicating with.
So we probably will turn the recording back on just to adjourn, because that ends up being 2 meetings, right? Yeah, so just to let everyone know that. Okay. So Hannah, would you kill the